UK pensioners shocked. Banks quietly restrict cash withdrawals. Are your savings at risk? Imagine walking into your local bank to withdraw your hard-earned pension, only to be told you can't take out the cash you've relied on for decades. No warning, no explanation, just sudden restrictions silently imposed by banks across the UK. Pensioners, the very people who built this country, are now being forced into digital systems, their independence stripped away under the guise of security and progress. Today, we'll uncover exactly what's happening, which banks are leading these changes, and what steps you can take to protect your money before it's too late. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss crucial updates on pensions, benefits, financial rights, and all the latest news affecting pensioners and UK residents. Stay informed, stay protected, and be the first to know about changes that could impact your money and lifestyle. Hey everyone, welcome back to State Pension Update. Today, we have urgent news that could completely change the way pensioners across the UK access their money. Reports have emerged confirming that several high street banks are quietly introducing strict new rules on cash withdrawals, and the people most affected are pensioners, and those over the age of 60. For decades, pensioners have relied on being able to walk into a bank branch, use an ATM, or withdraw money over the counter without unnecessary restrictions. It's been a simple, reliable system that allowed millions of elderly people to manage their finances safely and independently. But that era is now under threat. Due to a combination of new banking regulations, fraud prevention measures, and the banking sector's push towards a cashless society, many of the UK's biggest banks are introducing limits, delays, and even outright restrictions on the amount of cash you can take out. And the most concerning part? These rules are being rolled out silently, with little to no public warning. Many pensioners only discover the changes when they try to withdraw money, only to be refused. So, what exactly do these new withdrawal restrictions mean? How are they being implemented? And why are pensioners being targeted first? Today, we're going to break it all down, look at the banks leading this shift, explore the broader push towards digital-only banking, and most importantly, discuss practical steps pensioners can take to protect themselves. Stay with us until the end, because understanding this issue could mean the difference between being able to access your pension safely and being left completely helpless. Banks claim these restrictions are necessary for security and fraud prevention. In recent years, scams targeting elderly people have surged, with criminals tricking pensioners into withdrawing large sums of cash and handing it over. While the intention is to prevent fraud, the approach has largely penalized ordinary customers rather than tackling the scammers directly. Many people over 65 now face questions like, why are you withdrawing this money? What do you need it for? Can you provide proof of spending? On paper, these policies are framed as protective measures. In reality, they create a system in which ordinary pensioners are made to feel like criminals simply for accessing their own money. Another factor driving these changes is the government and banking sector's ongoing push towards a cashless society. With contactless payments, mobile banking, and online transfers becoming the norm, many banks argue that physical cash is outdated. But this creates a massive problem for millions of pensioners who still rely on cash for everyday life, buying groceries at local shops, paying tradespeople who don't accept card, or simply managing money in a tangible way instead of relying on apps. By restricting cash withdrawals, banks are effectively forcing pensioners into digital systems whether they want to be part of them or not. Early reports suggest that some of the UK's largest high street banks are already rolling out these restrictions. Lloyds Banking Group is reportedly introducing limits for customer protection. HSBC has flagged large pension withdrawals as suspicious. NatWest is asking pensioners to provide documentation for withdrawals above certain amounts. Barclays is testing digital-only services in select branches. This means that no matter which bank a pensioner uses, the risk of being denied access to their own cash is becoming very real. So why are pensioners being hit hardest? The answer is simple. They are seen as vulnerable and easier to control. Younger generations tend to use online banking and rarely withdraw large amounts of cash, while pensioners, particularly in rural areas, still depend on weekly or monthly withdrawals. For banks, restricting this group is far easier than telling tech-savvy customers that they can't access their money. Tragically, this means that the people who have worked hard their entire lives, paid taxes, and contributed to society are now being disproportionately penalized. The reality of being refused cash is already unfolding. Imagine walking into your local branch to withdraw $500 for home repairs, only to be told no. Some pensioners are reportedly being denied withdrawals above $250. Others are asked to fill out forms just to access their own money, and some are being told to use credit cards or online transfers instead of cash. For pensioners who aren't comfortable with technology, this is more than inconvenient. It's devastating. This shift also ties into the rapid closure of bank branches and ATMs across the country. Over 5,000 branches have closed in the last decade, leaving many towns without any physical bank at all. ATMs are disappearing at a rate of hundreds per year. Without access to cash, pensioners are being left stranded, often forced to travel miles just to withdraw a small amount. Beyond convenience, there's a deeper concern. Restricting cash withdrawals gives banks and the government greater control over pension payments. If pensioners cannot access their money freely in cash, they become increasingly reliant on digital systems where every transaction can be tracked, limited, or blocked. This raises the unsettling possibility that in the future, pension payments could come with conditions. Spending may be restricted to certain categories, and larger withdrawals could require government approval. What once sounded like a distant theory is now creeping into reality. So, what can pensioners do to protect themselves? There are practical steps that can help mitigate these restrictions. Regularly withdrawing smaller amounts rather than large sums can help avoid triggering limits. Keeping a modest emergency cash reserve at home can provide a safety net. Switching to community banks or credit unions that prioritize customer service is another option. Speaking to your MP about protecting the right to access cash is a step every concerned citizen should consider. The key is not to wait until you are refused access. Action is essential before these rules tighten further. Public backlash is already growing. Pensioner groups and campaigners are calling these restrictions discriminatory and unlawful. Legal experts argue that refusing customers their own cash could breach consumer rights laws. There are whispers of potential class action lawsuits against major lenders if the banks don't reverse course. Until then, pensioners remain in a vulnerable position. Looking ahead, the future of cash in the UK appears uncertain. If current trends continue, cash could make up less than 5% of all payments by 2030. Pensioners may be forced into digital-only banking, with physical money reserved for rare occasions. Without strong public resistance, the days of free and open access to cash may soon be gone forever. This news should serve as a wake-up call. The idea that pensioners, people who have spent their lives building this country, are now being told they cannot withdraw their own pension in cash is shocking. Banks frame this as progress and security, but the reality is that independence, dignity, and personal choice are being stripped away. The critical question now is, how long before cash disappears completely, and will pensioners have any say in the matter? If you or a loved one relies on cash, this story concerns you directly. Don't wait until it's too late. Prepare now. Have you or someone you know been refused cash at the bank? Share your experience in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. If you believe pensioners should have the right to fair and unrestricted access to their money, hit the like button to send a message to the banks that we're watching. And if you want to stay informed about pensions, benefits, and financial rights in the UK, subscribe so you never miss another critical update.